evening and welcome to Masterclass Junior. It is Wednesday, 6 p.m. It's time for us to cook, but actually we're going to bake today, aren't we?
Yeah.
Got two amazing recipes for you. I'd like to say my very famous shortbread recipe. This, let me tell you, is the ultimate biscuit, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the best.
It is buttery, it is sweet, it is salty, it is chocolatey, it is the best of everything that is in a biscuit. And I'm going to talk you through it. I've got my little assistant here. And then we're also going to make something slightly healthier but equally delicious. I've got this amazing blueberry and pumpkin seed flapjack. It is a big hit in our house. Both biscuits are actually. We've got to make extra today because we're going to fill Grandma and Grandad's biscuit tin as well, aren't we? Because Grandad's run out of biscuits and Grandma doesn't want to bake them. So we've made extra, so we've got some, here's what I made earlier, so we're going to go through the whole process. Now, if you've any questions, post them in the Facebook feed. Emily over there, who's running all the camera edits, will shout them out and I will make sure that I answer the question with reading out the question at the same time, just in case you can't hear Emily's little mousy voice. So, no, put that down. Hold on, wait. So we're going to make the shortbreads first. Now, I can honestly, if sea salt and dark chocolate isn't your thing, change the flavour profiles because this shortbread is amazing. I learned how to make this in France while skiing, and it's actually the first recipe I ever wrote on my first cookbook. Right.
Butter.
250 grams of butter. Now, you could do this recipe vegan. You can use a really great plant-based butter alternative. It's really good. And instead of the egg yolk that we're going to add in, my good friend from Kat's Kitchen took my recipe and kind of tweaked it for a vegan baking, and she added a little bit of tofu instead of the egg yolk and works like a dream. So really, really easy to do. So room temperature butter, really important. Use the back of the spoon like this. Can you cut to that, Emily?
Yeah.
And just start spreading the butter and softening it up. Okay? Right. You start doing that and then we'll talk about sugar. Now, you could just add white caster sugar. Okay, to this we've got 125 grams. But what I've also got is some brown sugar. So I've got 100 of white caster sugar here and I've got 30 grams of soft brown sugar to give that lovely caramelly flavour. So I'm just going to scrunch all that up. If I pour it in and you mix it, yeah? Mix that. Now, you could chuck it in the electric mixer if you wanted to. We're doing it by hand just so that we can talk to you at the same time, but you could just whack it in. But the idea is to mix it until it stops scratching, okay? So, and that's about the sugar and the butter amalgamating together and getting the sugar to dissolve. It's just like when you cream in a cake.
Take that bit. There's a bit.
Yeah. Right, can you separate the egg yolk for me? I want the white in there, because we need the white for something shortly, and the yolk into here, please. Okay. So, Emily, do you have any questions today?
Yeah.
I like to put her on the spot.
Yeah.
Do you? Oh, okay, go on then.
Yeah, it's a question for you. It's like, you've got obviously, I know you love your dark chocolate and stuff.
I do.
What is your next best favourite flavour in your shortbread?
Chocolate and orange. Brought up in York, we had Terry's chocolate oranges.
Oh.
Dark chocolate though. Do not send me any milk chocolate oranges, alright? Dark chocolate orange. Always. In it goes. No. Yeah, chocolate and orange.
Yeah.
Love it. We also do a lemon and poppy seed, and we do a lemon and roasted pine nut actually, which is quite nice.
I've got a good combination.
Go on then.
Raspberry and white chocolate.
Yeah, raspberry and white chocolate, but what you have to do is use the dehydrated raspberry, because there's too much moisture in there. You can, totally. Any flavour combination that you really love. I've actually done savoury ones of these. So you take the sugar out and you put parmesan in, take the chocolate out and put walnuts in. Really nice. Really nice. Right, so what I'm doing is I'm just working the sugar in and the butter and the egg yolk.
Just show that camera too.
This one?
Yeah.
So back of the spoon and really push it up the sides as much as you can. I mean, if you've got an electric mixer, I would absolutely use it, okay? So, vanilla in there, please. Really important, good vanilla. Don't use cheap vanilla, it's just not worth it. Vanilla bean paste, this is. Vanilla is expensive, I'll give you, you know, it is, but it is delicious.
How much?
You can't really skimp on it. Go on, go for it.
Is there a difference between extract and...
Vanilla essence is chemically formulated.
Oh, okay.
So it's made, it's synthetic,
Yeah.
if you like. Whereas extract is extracted from the vanilla pod. So it's like taken from the real thing. So always look for extract or paste, or if you're really flush, go for actual vanilla.
Pod.
Yeah, go for vanilla pod. Smells amazing straight away. Right, let me just get this and we'll talk chocolate. Because what we're trying to do is just make the best at all levels, okay? So we've used really beautiful combination of sugars. We've used good salted butter because that works with chocolate. I've got some Valrhona 70% dark chocolate, which is awesome chocolate. It is absolutely delicious.
Caramel.
No,
it's
that's the other chocolate that you're obsessed with. This is 70% dark chocolate. And I'm chopping it, if you can see those, what camera are we on, the main one?
Yeah.
So if you can see those, they're quite big pieces. So I'm chopping them into little chunks. But do me a favour, if you're making this recipe, don't chop them into tiny little pieces, because the biscuits are so much nicer if you like, yeah please, if you have like random chunks of chocolate and little splinters and all sorts, then you just get the best of both really. Because you want big chunks of chocolate to like reset when you're chopping it. Poppy, what's your fingers, girl? Right, there we go. Alright, so pop the chocolate in. Yeah, you go wash your hands. Yeah, there we go. I'll leave that over there to one side for a minute. Okay, so the key to good shortbread is not over mixing, okay? So we've now got our butter, our 2 types of sugar, our vanilla, our egg yolks, and we've got our chocolate. We've now got 375 grams of plain flour going in, and we're now going to start to mix it all together. And we don't mix until the flour's in, but we don't want to overwork it because that's when the gluten is developed and you end up with quite a tough biscuit, okay? Go on, in you go, all of it. I like to double up this recipe because when you do, if you double it up, you can roll out more biscuits and then pop them in the fridge and then just slice them off whenever you want. So it is definitely a good recipe for doubling up. If you want this recipe, go to masterclass.co website and you'll find it there, along with the flapjack recipe as well. Right, so we're going to scrape it all the way around the bowl, just to start to bring it all together.
If you were to make these chocolate cookies, shortbread cakes,
Yeah.
what would be your ratio of flour to cocoa powder?
I usually take like 2 tablespoons of flour out.
Yeah.
And replace it with cocoa powder, but then I also add just a little splash of milk because cocoa powder has a habit of absorbing moisture and it becomes quite dry. Hang on. So we're just going to turn the mixture out now, and you can see most of it's out of the bowl. That's kind of where we wanted it to be. And now, are you ready to scrunch this together? Or yeah, I thought you might be. So use your hands and push it together. Yeah, rather than mix the shortbread dough, push it in, make it form a dough rather than knead it and work it into a dough. My wife's just come back off the mountaintop. She's been walking all day. I think she's broken Thomas, which is why he's not cooking with us. He's just done a 6 or 7 mile walk, so he'll be very tired, but refreshed and enjoying the Lake District. Okay? Are you about done, or do you want me to finish it?
You can.
You're right, you go wash your hands because I'll need you with clean hands.
Okay.
So are you cut into that, Emily? My hands are bigger and warmer, you see. You're like your mum, you've got cold hands. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the dough together like so. Yeah? So we're forming the dough rather than mixing the dough.
Is it easy to over-mix it if you put it in a mixer?
Yeah. You just got to watch it. And to be honest, even in a mixer, it doesn't come together. You still have to do this. You still have to bring it together. And you can see all I'm doing is just forcing, like my warm hands are just sort of pressing the dough together. And we'll just sort of divide this into 2 and roll it into sausages, and then they can just go straight in the fridge. So we're almost there. Nice to do a bit of baking, isn't it, instead of cooking for a change? It's been the Easter holidays, so there's been a lot of family baking going on this week. You made your rather famous banana bread muffins yesterday again, didn't you? Yeah. If you fancy a really good recipe, Pops did banana bread muffins the other day, and we launched it on Kitchen Craft's Facebook page or their Instagram page, so you'll be able to find it there. It was really, really tasty. And we have the constant argument in the studio to butter banana bread or not to butter banana bread.
To not.
I like mine buttered.
I don't mind.
Right, Pops, will you just go to the fridge and get me the other shortbreads that are in there resting, and we'll swap these ones over. So what I've done is I've just rolled these into a sausage shape, and then the reason why we now set them in the fridge is because they need to firm up. So when you slice them, it doesn't drag the chocolate through, because there's random pieces of chocolate. It's at the top. Sorry, you're a bit little, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, not to worry.
Thank you for the compliment.
Okay, right. So these are going to go in the fridge. Okay, now these are solid. Okay? So what we're going to do with the egg white that Poppy saved, we're actually going to just up the next ante again with these shortbreads. Okay, so get me, hang on. Let's have,
Sword.
now it's set. Just get a little bit of parchment paper. Okay, we'll lay that on there, and if you pass me that brown sugar, can you see this all right, Emily?
Bring it back a little bit towards you.
A bit towards me. Right, so there's some brown sugar on your recipe list. Okay, we're just gonna break that up into fine granules, and with the egg white that we saved, what we're gonna do is take our dough and we're going to paint it with egg white and roll it in sugar. And because this shortbread is not a really high sugar biscuit, it's not like ridiculously sweet, so you can create a layer of sweetness around the outside of the biscuit to counter the salt that we're going to put on top as well. Alright? So just roll it around in your hands and brush the egg white. And this will just give you this lovely, sweet, crisp coating. That'll do. Perfect. Right, and then just roll it in the sugar. Can you do that for me? Yeah. Roll it in the sugar and get a nice even coating on all of it. Have we any viewers' questions tonight, Emily?
No, we've got a few people joining us.
Good. We'd like to hear.
I think somebody says no to butter on banana bread.
What? No! Don't knock it till you've tried it, and it's got to be salted butter. There's another dilemma. Salted or not salted, or unsalted butter, Emily.
Doesn't even want butter.
Right, so can you take that, pop that in the bin? So what you can do now is you could just leave this, just pop it to one side, just leave it in the fridge and then slice off what you want when you want it, okay? But we're going to slice them off and show you. Now you could make these much bigger biscuits if you wanted to, but we make them smaller. So they're about 1 to 2 centimetres thick. Don't make them too thin, okay? So they need to be at least 1 centimetre thick. Can we see these all right, Emily?
We can.
Good. So we're just going to slice them off. And then do you want to grab the sea salt, Poppy? Which is at the front here.
And give a little sprinkle.
Yeah. So each biscuit just wants, no, a little bit less than that. Yeah, that's all right. Just a little sprinkle. What you want is a hint of salt, not primary salt. You don't want it to be salty.
Is that all right?
Yeah, you just want that little bit of salt. Because what it does is it just brings out the bitterness of the chocolate, and you actually start to really taste the chocolate. And it's sort of a proven fact with tastings and things like that, that little bit of salt just brings out the natural flavours of a dark chocolate. And then obviously we've got this lovely buttery shortbread that's going to carry it. So, Pops, will you pop that into that oven for me? It's on 160 degrees, which is perfect temperature for shortbreads. It'll take about 10 to 12 minutes. Don't overcook them. They don't want to be golden brown. They want to be sort of that yellowy, golden colour, okay? So, I think we're on to flapjack now. Love this recipe. Really, really do. Combination of blueberries. And I actually use fresh blueberries in this recipe. So, should we bring all the ingredients in, Pops? You could do that for me. So this recipe uses fresh blueberries, and as a consequence to using fresh blueberries, you need to keep this in the fridge, okay? And it keeps for longer. So I'm going to get the butter in. This recipe also exactly the same as what we talked about. If you prefer a plant-based diet, use a vegan block, which I don't think is the nicest of terms, is it? But it's an alternative to butter that's got that kind of same setting point that butter does. So it works really, really well. And again, we've done this vegan before. Plant-based is perfect recipe for that.
We have had a question.
Yeah.
Some people put salted butter, they use salted butter all the time. In recipes they say to use unsalted, not sure if there's a technical reason for
I always use salted butter in all my cooking and baking, because I just think that little bit of salt helps raise the flavour profiles of things. I used to have a constant argument with Mitch Turner, my very good friend and co-judge on Britain's Best Bakery, and we used to sit in the evenings all the time and debate salted butter or unsalted. And in the north, we like salted butter, okay? And lots of it. You cut butter, you don't spread it, all right? You slice it and put it on cake, fruit cake. Yum.
Oh.
Yum. Banana bread. Okay, so 250 grams of butter or a plant-based butter. Then we have got 125 grams of white sugar and brown sugar. So again, we're using that combination of sugars to get flavour full. Yeah, use a spoon. Okay, we've got 500 grams of whole oats, so the bigger ones, not the finely ground ones. I wanted to make sure that these are much better for you. Milled oats aren't as good for you. There's more fibre, more digestible. The more fibre you have in your diet, the better your body is running as a machine, and it can absorb more nutrients and minerals. There we go, there's my little health tip for you today.
Full of them today?
I am full of it today. Right, so we're going to go golden syrup now. I know, I've got a little spoon for Poppy. So a little tip for you, dip your spoon in hot boiling water.
Because otherwise when you take it off, when you dump it in, it sticks, but if you have it in hot water, it comes off straight away.
Yeah, watch. Boom! There you go, you see.
It's quite satisfying that, isn't it?
It is when it works. It's great.
But sometimes it doesn't work.
No, look, I think there might be a spoon there to... I remember having golden syrup on toast as a kid. Loved it. There we go. I know, what a shame. Right, there we go. That's my golden syrup. You go off camera and deal with that spoon.
I'll make sure it's...
You go and clean it. Okay. So, can we see okay in this pan, Emily? So, I'm using my 4 litre cast aluminium pan. It's the shallow one. I absolutely love this pan. We've got the little rubber handles on to make sure that we don't get burned. And the reason why I use this pan, it's got a big surface area, but it's deep enough to absorb all the ingredients.
Clean.
Clean spoon, was it?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we're just bringing this up to the heat, okay? You don't really need to sort of mega boil it. You're not trying to create toffee, all right? We're just trying to bring together the butter, the sugar, and the golden syrup. It's like the holy trinity of flapjacks, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get this right, and then everything else is amazing. So,
Can you flavour this? What else can you
yeah,
do?
now, I actually quite like a little bit of lemon zest if you want to flavour flapjacks. Obviously, we're using fresh blueberries and pumpkin seeds. Right, just 1 second. Poppy, pour those in. 500 grams of oats. And then we've got... Oh, Pops. How can you miss that target, eh? And then fresh blueberries, okay? I really like fresh in this. I don't like dried because I think dried blueberries get very sort of tart. Now, again, you don't have to add pumpkin seeds. You could add the seeds that you like. I just really like pumpkin seeds. They're super good for you. And I think if you're going to have a flapjack, well, let's face it, it's not as healthy as everyone thinks it is, but it is delicious. There's lots of... If you can add goodness to something that's a little bit naughty, then it makes it less naughty, would you say? Slightly, maybe?
Balanced diet.
Welcome to my world. Right, you keep mixing that. So in terms of flavour profiles, you could add fresh cranberries into it. They're quite sour, but they are quite delicious. You could add raspberries to this. You could add frozen raspberries, fresh blueberries, all different kinds of nuts and seeds if you wanted to. The only thing is, like, if you're going to add chia seeds, remember that chia seeds absorb moisture and swell up, so they will change the dynamic and make your flapjack quite dry. So you've got to be careful on that one.
We need to take it off because the blueberries are...
Okay, the blueberries are just starting to burst. Now, can you see this all right, Emily?
Yeah.
So you can see Poppy's just mixed it enough that the butter and the sugar and the golden syrup have bound the oats, but she's stopped before the blueberries start to bleed and burst. Yeah, because we don't want them to sort of burst. We don't want this to be bright red. So if I hold this, we're using Masterclass brownie tin. It's quite a small tin for flapjack, but we quite like a deep, thick flapjack. If you do it really thin, they become a bit crispy. And I want to try and protect the blueberries because I want them to sort of stay plump. And when you bite into it, you get this sort of little fresh burst of fruitiness. This is super non-stick, this tin.
I did have the question, could you use mixed fruit?
Yes, but what I would do is soak it in a little bit of water, boiling water, and maybe some lemon juice to plump them up to make them nice and fruity. Otherwise, you end up with sort of quite a dry... We're trying to make a really fruity flapjack here. But yeah, of course you could add fresh. I like to take my dried fruit and soak it overnight in apple juice, hot water, lemon juice works really well, and really give it a zing and make it nice and swollen so that it's fruity again. We all right?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
Can you push that? Shall I do that in case it's hot?
Yeah.
I don't burn, do I?
No, you don't.
Asbestos fingers.
Yeah, years and years. There you go. Use the back of your spoon and just press it and compact it down. Now the good news is, Pops, we have some we made earlier. So the sooner you get that in the oven, the sooner I can reveal our wonderful biscuits and flapjacks. Alright, I thought that would make you move a bit quicker. So pop that in the oven with the shortbreads.
They look good.
Good. This one?
I can't put it in because the drawers are a bit...
So pop it into there. Careful, that's it. Well done. Right, let's get these out. Okay, so... it's exciting.
It's very golden.
Oh, there is our flapjack. Just check Emily can see that all right. Yeah? And here are our shortbreads.
We might have to taste it.
So, hang on. Just wait, Poppy. Down, Pops. Right. Where would you like these?
Right there,
Exactly there. Right, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my knife carefully through. Now, I have made sure that this comes out. There we go. Look at that, Pops. How does that look? Which one are you going for first?
I'm going to try the cookie.
I thought you might. Have a little taste of those.
This one.
Take one to Emily. Take one to Emily.
Oh,
She's going to the gym later. She needs some energy. But you can see that because we use sea salt rather than table salt, you've got these beautiful little flecks of salt which will work so well with the dark chocolate. And if you're going to do milk chocolate ones, that's absolutely fine. Don't not make it. But I wouldn't bother with the salt because salt doesn't really work with milk chocolate. It really works with dark chocolate. Okay? Very good way of using up the Easter eggs as well if you've got a few of them left over. So let me cut through the flapjack.
It's very good.
Is it good? And you can see how fruity this flapjack is. Move those over. There's not a lot of talking going on. But have a go at making this, but you can see, look how squidgy it all is. And you've got those fresh little nuggets of blueberry. Absolutely delicious. Perfect for picnics, because we've still got some great weather here in the UK. We're still off school, so you've got a few more days off yet, haven't you? Yeah? So yes, you can get all the recipes from masterclass.co. Now this Saturday we're going to be doing more of the picnic theme. We're going to be making some beautiful homemade sausage rolls with my very famous fennel and apple jam. Again, a recipe that I did years back when I first started writing cookery books, and they're absolutely delicious. If you, young man, want a shortbread, come and get one now.
Oh.
Bless it. How many miles have you walked?
Well, I've done 27,000 steps.
He's done 27,000 steps.
I've done 24,000 steps.
So he deserves a biscuit, I think. But if you want the recipes, please go to masterclass.co. And on Saturday, as I said, I'm going to be making my delicious sausage rolls, perfect for a picnic, with fennel and apple jam running through the middle. We're also going to show you how to make a really beautiful filled cob loaf. So we're going to scoop out the middle, we're going to rub it with pesto and garlic and olive oil, and then fresh mozzarella and lots of lovely antipasties. Squash it all back inside the bread and wrap it up for an amazing picnic for this weekend. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a great day, and we will see you on Saturday.